Number 8 staged something so unbelievable that when the truth came out, his entire show dropped him within 24 hours.
Empire actor Jussie Smollett is in police custody.
Number 3 is facing a comeback that half of Hollywood is convinced is impossible. But number 1 walked onto the biggest stage in Hollywood and threw away 30 years of being America's favorite actor in literally 10 seconds. We're talking about careers that didn't fade away slowly. These ended overnight.
Why is it being foreclosed? Because I can't pay the bills that I owe.
Some of these people are trying to come back right now. Most of them never will. You know what's wild about Hollywood? Everyone thinks careers die slowly. Like maybe a bad movie tanks, then another one flops, and eventually people just forget about you. That's not what happened to these 15 actors. Their careers got absolutely destroyed in a single moment. One day they're signing million-dollar contracts. The next day, nobody in Hollywood will return their calls. Let's count them down.
$100,000. Did you hear what he said?
100,000? I'm sorry.
Mel Gibson. So back in 2006, Mel Gibson was literally Hollywood royalty. We're talking about a guy who won Oscars for Braveheart, made hundreds of millions with Mad Max and Lethal Weapon, and directed one of the highest-grossing independent films ever with The Passion of the Christ. He had everything. Then he got pulled over for DUI, and what happened during that arrest changed his entire life. The recording leaked, and it was bad. Gibson went on this rant filled with horrible comments about a specific religious group. Hollywood basically froze him out immediately. Studios that were desperate to work with him suddenly wouldn't take his calls. Every project he had lined up just disappeared. Then, in 2010, recordings surfaced of him screaming at his ex-girlfriend with absolutely disturbing language.
It is getting seemingly worse every day for Mel Gibson. There's another audio recording which has now been made public, reportedly of him and his former girlfriend, and it is filled with threats of violence against her.
She accused him of physical violence, and he settled the case. But by that point, his reputation was completely destroyed. For years after that, Gibson basically worked in tiny independent films that nobody watched. He went from being one of the biggest directors and actors in the world to someone Hollywood treated like he didn't exist. Here's what's interesting though. Gibson's actually one of the few people on this list who managed to come back. In 2016, he directed Hacksaw Ridge, and it got nominated for 6 Oscars and won 2 of them. Fast forward to today, and he's really working again. His movie Flight Risk came out back in January with Mark Wahlberg. Right now, he's prepping The Resurrection of the Christ, which is the sequel to his massive hit from 2004. It's slated to release in the next couple of years. He's even attached to direct Lethal Weapon 5. His name still carries controversy, and a lot of people still won't forgive him. But unlike almost everyone else we're going to talk about, Gibson actually made it back. It took almost 20 years of staying quiet and working his way back up. But he proved that sometimes Hollywood does give second chances.
You've got boatloads of money, 3 TV shows, and still, even with all the work you've had done, you can walk down the street totally unrecognized.
Charlie Sheen. In 2011, Charlie Sheen was making almost $2 million per episode on 2.5 Men. Think about that for a second, per episode. He was the highest paid actor on television, and the show was absolutely massive. Then he had what might be the most public meltdown in television history, and it was so spectacular that it became this whole cultural phenomenon. The interviews were absolutely insane. Sheen was talking about tiger blood and winning and calling himself a warlock.
Because that's how I roll. I have one speed, I have one gear. Go! Because I'm me, I'm different. I just have a different constitution, I have a different brain, I have a different heart, I have a different, I get tiger blood, man. I'm too smart, I'm too smart.
He went after the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, publicly. The internet just exploded with memes about it. Everyone was watching this unfold in real time. But behind all the spectacle was clearly someone who was falling apart. CBS fired him in March 2011, and the show just continued without him for 4 more seasons, with Ashton Kutcher taking over. Sheen's career never recovered to that level. He did a show called Anger Management for a couple seasons, but it was nowhere near as successful as 2.5 Men. His film career basically disappeared completely. He became way more famous for his meltdown than for his actual work. Recently, however, Sheen has started taking accountability. He admitted that his behavior came from substance and mental health struggles that he wasn't managing. Here's where Sheen is in late 2025. He's working again, but it's nothing like before. He actually reconciled with Chuck Lorre, the guy he publicly attacked, to appear on Lorre's show Bookie. It was a huge step, but he's never getting another leading role on a major hit show like he had. He traded what could have been a legendary career for becoming a meme. The internet loved it for a few weeks, but it cost him absolutely everything.
It's the exact same thing, isn't it?
So I've been told.
Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl was one of the biggest stars on Grey's Anatomy. She won an Emmy in 2007 for playing Izzy Stevens, and her movie career was taking off with films like Knocked Up. Then in 2008, she made a decision that Hollywood absolutely never forgave her for. When Emmy nominations came around, Heigl withdrew her name from consideration. She released this statement saying she didn't feel the material warranted a nomination. That comment was seen as this massive attack on the show's creator Shonda Rhimes and all the writers. Industry insiders immediately started calling her difficult, and that reputation just stuck to her. Then in 2009, she went on David Letterman and complained about Grey's Anatomy's 17-hour workdays, calling them cruel and mean. The backlash was immediate and it was brutal. Sources were saying the long hours were specifically to accommodate her schedule so she could do film promotion. Shonda Rhimes later told The Hollywood Reporter that there were no Heigls on her other show Scandal. That was basically a public execution of Heigl's reputation. She got written off Grey's Anatomy and her film roles completely dried up. For years, she couldn't get work anywhere. She's admitted in recent interviews that she should have handled things way differently. She wasn't trying to be ungrateful. She was trying to be honest about working conditions. But Hollywood really doesn't like actors who speak out, especially women. Ellen Pompeo actually said later that Heigl was ahead of her time and was absolutely right about the hours.
Made a statement about our crazy hours. And of course, let's slam a woman and call her ungrateful. Right. When the truth is, she's 100% honest and it's absolutely correct what she said.
But by then, the damage was completely done. In 2025, Heigl's working steadily in television, but she never got back the movie stardom she had. Speaking up about working conditions cost her everything.
I can't believe that I'm here right now.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox became a superstar literally overnight with Transformers in 2007. She was everywhere. Magazines, talk shows, major films. She was being positioned as the next huge action star. Then in 2009, she gave an interview to Wonderland magazine that basically ended her career. She compared director Michael Bay to Napoleon and said he wanted to be like a certain infamous dictator on his sets.
Yeah, well, he's infamous for being a sort of tyrant, I guess, on set. But
She talked about him being a nightmare to work with. That comment spread globally within hours. Reports started coming out that Steven Spielberg, who was the executive producer of Transformers, told Bay to fire her. Fox got removed from the third Transformers movie anyway. She was replaced with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Fox's team claimed she chose to leave, but her co-star Shia LaBeouf basically suggested that wasn't what actually happened. The industry immediately labeled her as difficult to work with. Every single project she touched after that completely flopped. Critics destroyed her performances. Studios just stopped offering her major roles. For years, Fox basically disappeared from the A-list. She was appearing in these small films and direct-to-video projects. Her career looked completely finished. Here's what's happened recently, though. In 2025, Fox is actually slowly working her way back. She reconciled with Michael Bay, who cast her in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films he produced. She's booking roles again and rebuilding her image. But she's never gonna have what she had in 2007. One interview where she compared someone to a dictator cost her a franchise worth billions and almost ended her career permanently.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? I'm trying to run an office here.
Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey was completely untouchable in Hollywood. 2 Academy Awards, a massive Netflix hit with House of Cards, decades of respect from everyone in the industry. Then in October 2017, actor Anthony Rapp came forward accusing Spacey of serious misconduct dating back to 1986. That allegation just opened this massive floodgate. More than a dozen men came forward with similar stories spanning literally decades. Spacey's career imploded instantly. Netflix fired him from House of Cards immediately. His scenes were being cut from all the money in the world, and Christopher Plummer had to come in and reshoot everything in 9 days. Spacey faced criminal charges in London and went to trial in 2023. He was acquitted of all charges. No conviction, no guilty verdict. But here's the thing, it didn't save his career. The damage was permanent. What's fascinating about Spacey's case is that he was found not guilty in criminal court, but Hollywood still absolutely won't touch him. He's appeared in a few really small independent films since then. Foreign productions that basically nobody's heard of. But the major studios are gone. Those big roles are never coming back. He can't undo the public perception even with courtroom wins. As of late 2025, Spacey's attempting this really quiet comeback. He's booking small roles and doing interviews trying to rebuild, but he's never going to be Frank Underwood again. He's never winning another Oscar. The lesson here is pretty brutal. Sometimes the court of public opinion matters way more than an actual court. Once Hollywood decides you're done, winning your legal case doesn't change their mind. Gina Carano had absolutely everything going for her. She was a rising star on The Mandalorian playing Cara Dune on one of the biggest shows on Disney+. Fans loved her character. There were actual plans in place for a spin-off series about her. Then in February 2021, she posted something on social media that ended everything immediately. She made this comparison about being conservative to victims of World War II. The backlash was instant and it was massive. Disney and Lucasfilm fired her immediately. A statement from Lucasfilm called her posts unacceptable. Those plans for the Cara Dune spin-off got completely scrapped. Her talent agency dropped her. She went from having her own Star Wars series to having absolutely nothing in less than a week. The message was really clear. Disney wasn't going to tolerate that kind of content from someone in their universe. Carano quickly signed with the Daily Wire, which is a conservative media company, to develop a film, but she later canceled that project because she refused to follow masking guidelines during production. She quit her union and made a different movie in Montana that basically nobody watched. Some people think she's standing on principle. Other people think she destroyed her own career unnecessarily. Jussie Smollett. This is where things get absolutely wild. In January 2019, Jussie Smollett was riding high on Empire, one of Fox's biggest shows at the time. Then he reported being attacked in Chicago in what appeared to be this horrific hate crime. The story made global headlines instantly. Celebrities were supporting him. The media was covering it non-stop. Then police investigated and concluded that Smollett allegedly staged the entire attack himself.
A jury has found Jussie Smollett guilty of staging an anti-gay and racist attack on himself in 2019 and lying to Chicago police about it.
According to police, Smollett reportedly paid 2 people he knew to carry out this fake attack. The public felt completely betrayed. Empire removed him from the final season immediately. He got charged with filing false police reports. In 2021, a jury convicted him on 5 felony counts. He served time in jail before getting released on bond. His reputation was absolutely destroyed. His career was finished. Throughout everything, he maintained his innocence. In late 2025, he's trying to pivot. He released an indie film called The Lost Holiday that he directed and starred in. He's trying to reset his image. He's attempting to make a comeback, but the question everyone's asking is whether audiences are ready to forgive. The legal system let him off, but the court of public opinion is way harder to win over. His career is never going to be what it was when Empire was at its peak. Elizabeth Berkley. Elizabeth Berkley was America's sweetheart on Saved by the Bell. When that show ended in 1993, she was 23 years old, and Hollywood was absolutely watching her. She had the look, she had the talent, she had all the momentum. Then came 1995, and she made the decision that ended everything before it really began. She took the lead role in Showgirls. It was this $40 million film directed by Paul Verhoeven, the guy who made Basic Instinct. It was supposed to launch her entire movie career and prove she could do serious, mature film work. Instead, it became one of the biggest disasters in Hollywood history. Critics absolutely destroyed it. Audiences hated it. But worse than this was how they treated Berkley personally. Her performance got called wooden, over the top, laughable. Berkley became the face of this massive failure. Her agency dropped her. Directors wouldn't return her calls. For years afterwards, she appeared in these tiny roles nobody remembers. A Lifetime movie here, a small indie film there. Nothing that could save what happened to her career. Here's the interesting twist, though. Over the past decade, Showgirls actually became this cult classic. Critics started reconsidering it. People appreciate its wild ambition now. Film schools study it, but that reclamation came way too late for Berkley. She never got the film stardom she deserved. She's made peace with it and works occasionally in television, but Showgirls remains the role that completely defined her career. One choice, one movie, everything gone. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf had absolutely everything. From Disney Channel to Transformers to critically acclaimed indie films like Honey Boy, he showed this incredible range. Then in December 2020, everything collapsed around him. His ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs sued him for assault and emotional distress during their relationship. The lawsuit was really detailed and disturbing. She described incidents where LaBeouf allegedly her, knowingly passed on a harmful health condition, and kept her in this constant state of fear.
He would often just start having an argument with me in the middle of the night, start accusing me of doing all sorts of things, planning to leave him in my head.
She talked about another incident where he threatened to crash their car unless she told him she loved him. These weren't vague allegations, they were specific and terrifying. LaBeouf initially tried to dispute the claims, then admitted he'd been abusive to everyone around him for years. He stepped away from acting completely and entered treatment. Director Olivia Wilde revealed she'd removed him from Don't Worry Darling because of his combative energy on set. He got replaced with Harry Styles. His talent agency dropped him. Every single project disappeared. Hollywood shut him out completely and immediately. Here's the recent development, though. In July 2025, LaBeouf and FKA Twigs reached a private settlement. The lawsuit got dismissed. Details are confidential, but both parties wished each other peace in a joint statement. LaBeouf has since appeared in small films like Megalopolis. He's trying to return to acting really quietly. Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer had everything Hollywood wants in a leading man. He was tall, handsome, came from a wealthy family, and starred in major films like The Social Network and Call Me By Your Name. Then in January 2021, these messages allegedly from him leaked online. They talked about violent, dark fantasies that were too graphic to repeat here. People were absolutely horrified. But that was just the beginning. Multiple women came forward with accusations of emotional abuse and manipulation. One woman identified as Effie accused him of serious assault. The details were really disturbing. Hammer's agency dropped him immediately. Every single project he had lined up just disappeared. He went from being a leading man to completely unemployable in a matter of days. Los Angeles prosecutors investigated for 2 years. In 2023, they announced they wouldn't file charges, citing the complexity of the relationships involved. No conviction. But that didn't save his career at all. He got completely blacklisted. Reports say he had to sell his truck because he couldn't even afford gas anymore. He got spotted in the Cayman Islands, allegedly working in sales. From Hollywood star to barely getting by. Now, Hammer's attempting a comeback. He's been cast in a Western called Frontier Crucible. He's doing podcasts claiming that people in Hollywood now see him as someone who got messed over. He's trying to reframe the entire narrative. Some people in the industry are willing to work with him again. A lot of actresses have publicly said they absolutely won't. His career is never going to be what it was, but he's fighting to have any career at all.
Can I just kiss you?
Oh my
just once.
God, you are
just
pushy.
Once. That's all I need to get you out of my system.
Oh, that's...
Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni directed and starred in It Ends With Us, alongside Blake Lively. The movie was a box office hit about surviving domestic violence, but during the press tour, fans noticed something really weird. Blake Lively and the rest of the cast weren't taking photos with Baldoni. They weren't doing interviews with him. They basically unfollowed him on social media. Then reports started flooding and accusing Baldoni of creating a hostile, borderline abusive work environment on set. But then Baldoni's camp fired back, claiming Lively was the one who hijacked the movie and was bullying him. It turned into this massive PR war. Baldoni hired Johnny Depp's crisis PR manager to try and save his reputation. The damage to Baldoni's career has been severe. While the movie made money, the industry drama was toxic. Directors distanced themselves from him. The film became way more famous for all the drama than for its actual content. In late 2025, Baldoni is still trying to navigate the fallout. His agency has stuck by him, but he hasn't announced a major directing follow-up yet. The question is whether this scandal made him too risky for studios to hire again.
I've been sitting out there for the last half hour trying to come up with a story that would explain my being here.
Will Smith. Will Smith was one of the biggest stars on the entire planet for 30 years straight, from Fresh Prince to Men in Black to Bad Boys. He was a household name. He was the safe bet, the family-friendly superstar, the guy literally everyone loved. March 27, 2022, at the Oscars, he destroyed all of that in 10 seconds flat. Chris Rock walked out to present an award and made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. Will laughed at first. Then something changed. He got up, walked onto the stage, and slapped Chris Rock directly across the face on live television in front of millions of people watching worldwide. The room went completely silent. People genuinely thought it was some kind of scripted bit at first. Then Will walked back to his seat and yelled at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. He said it twice. Everyone suddenly realized this was completely real. Later that same night, Will won Best Actor for King Richard. He got up on stage, gave this emotional speech, and cried. But he didn't apologize to Chris Rock, not once during that speech. The next day, the apologies started coming.
I've reached out to Chris.
But the damage was absolutely done. The Academy banned him from attending all Oscar events for 10 years. Projects got delayed or canceled entirely. His image as Hollywood's nice guy was completely shattered. Now, in late 2025, 3 years later, Will's trying everything to come back. He released new music. He did Bad Boys, Ride or Die, which actually did well at the box office. But he's not the same Will Smith anymore. Sources are saying that major prestige directors are still wary of working with him. His wife, Jada, revealed they'd actually been separated for years before the slap even happened, which just made the whole thing more confusing. Here's the worst part. He still has his Oscar. They didn't ask him to return it, but he can't attend the ceremony until 2032. He'll be 64 years old by then. One slap cost him a decade of recognition and possibly the rest of his legacy. Nobody on this list had more to lose. Nobody fell harder or faster. Nobody had a more public, more instant, more globally watched career collapse. That's why he's number one, because Will Smith didn't just lose a career. He lost a legend that took 30 years to build. From Will Smith's slap that the entire world watched to Justin Baldoni's PR nightmare to Armie Hammer having to sell his truck just to survive. These stories show you how fast absolutely everything can disappear in Hollywood. Some of them got second chances. Shia LaBeouf is quietly working again. Will Smith's 3 years into a 10-year ban. Alec Baldwin is trying to rewrite his story after a tragedy. The lesson is really clear. In Hollywood, your reputation is literally everything. And once it's gone, no amount of money or fame is gonna bring it back. If you want more shocking Hollywood stories, then subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.